We often have a need to save a piece of data so we can use it later. In Python, we do this by giving the object a name. When we name a data object, we are creating what most programming languages call a variable. A variable is simply a named reference to a data object. For example, let's say that we want to remember that we rode our bike a distance of 75 miles. Let's represent 75, the data object 75, by simply taking the value 75 and putting it in a circle. So we'll let this be our numeric data object. It turns out, I guess, that it's actually an integer data object. What we'd like to now do is create a name, say distance. And we'd like to let that name refer to this data object. So we'd like to create this sort of reference relationship. So distance refers to the data object that is the value 75. In Python, we can accomplish this by using what's called an assignment statement. The assignment statement is one of the most common statements that you will use in your programming. Structurally, the assignment statement has three parts. The left-hand side of the assignment statement is the name that you want to use in your reference. In our case, it's going to be distance. The middle part, or the center part of the assignment statement, is what's called the assignment operator. And that's going to be, in Python, just the equals symbol. And the right-hand side of the assignment statement can be any expression that we would like. And in our case, it's simply going to be the numeric data object 75. When we execute this assignment statement, you'll notice that nothing is returned by the Python interpreter, because in fact what has happened is that the Python interpreter has done exactly what we had asked. That is, it has now taken the name distance and given it as a reference to this value of 75. Now let's talk a little bit more about the assignment statement. The left-hand side of the assignment statement, where the name is going to go, that's commonly referred to as an identifier. Identifiers are names, and we can use any combination of letters or digits that we wish, but we have to remember that in Python, identifiers are going to be case sensitive, so capital letters and small letters are going to create different names. The other rule is that we never put spaces in an identifier. The assignment operator, in this case the equals, most programming languages use the equals, although there are a few languages that use other operators. We simply have to know syntactically what your programming language makes use of for assignment. The right-hand side of the assignment statement can be an expression, and the rule is that we first evaluate the right-hand side. And so in this case, when we evaluate 75, we get the data object 75. The second step in processing the assignment statement then is to simply let the name on the left-hand side refer to the data object on the right. And the way that we know that this worked is that now if we evaluate distance, it will return that it is now referring to the value 75. Remember that when we evaluate an expression in the Python shell, Python will return the value that that expression evaluates to. So now what would happen if we said, all right, we rode a distance of 75 miles, and let's say that it took us 3 hours. So we could do another assignment statement, time equals 3. Again, nothing happens when we return, but what we know is that we have in fact now created a second reference here. We've now got time is a reference to the data object 3. So now we have two relationships between two identifiers and two different data objects. One thing that we could do, of course, is we can now ask the question, how fast were we riding our bike? So the way that we would do that is simply to compute the expression distance divided by time. And distance divided by time, which is just an arithmetic expression, will tell me that I was riding my bike at 25 miles per hour. But the problem, of course, is that I didn't save that anyplace. So if I wanted to save how fast I was riding my bike, I could create a third assignment statement. I could say miles per hour will be a reference to the result of dividing distance by time. Again, nothing gets returned, but now if I evaluate miles per hour, I get the value 25. So just to pictorially put this together, the assignment statement on the right-hand side takes the value that distance refers to, which is 75, and the value that time refers to, which is 3, performs a division, and the result is the data object 25.0. That data object then is given a name, in this case miles per hour, and the result of the assignment statement now is that miles per hour is referring to the value 25.0.